Long and windy roads today with the Ultraboost 21. So the long run shoe test videos return today with a longer effort in the Adidas Ultraboost 21. As you can see by this cloud white version I've got here, I've managed to customize it slightly and turn it to a slate grey. Almost like battleship grey, I suppose. Quite a divisive shoe, this one, but I wanted to take it out on the longer run to see how it performed. Just before we get started, if this is your first time here with EDDBUD, do make sure you hit the subscribe button and also click the bell so that YouTube will notify you when I launch those new videos. It does really help the channel out too if you give this video a thumbs up, like, and share this video with your running buddies. Just over 13.1 miles today. That's 21.1 kilometers on the long run for this week, keeping my effort firmly in that aerobic state. It's like zone 3 on my Garmin watch, keeps barking at me, telling me to stay there. I kept talking to it, telling it that I was trying my best, and then I realised I was talking to a watch. Heart rate average was 133 beats per minute over this run, and I think I was out there for about an hour and 47 minutes total. So not the fastest half marathon I'm ever going to run, but that wasn't the point. A slight detour to my typical route today, mainly due to some flooding. There's some nasty wind out there as well. I wasn't enjoying that in the slightest. Always seemed to be changing direction as well, to be coming at me, whichever way I was going. Loads of standing water actually, and some really bad flooded fields, just like lakes almost. It does make you realise that where you're staying in as part of the lockdown and not going out quite as much or going quite as far afield as I used to, my perspective on local conditions really wasn't right. It's pretty bad out there. On this route, pretty much for the first 8 miles, it's all uphill. And then a steady descent for the rest of the time, about 5 miles to the homestead. Being really cautious to keep that effort aerobic. And when I got back, I did check on Strava and it pretty much put it in as an endurance sort of effort, so ideal. A satisfied beast. So how did the Adidas Ultraboost 21 shape up on the long run? So in terms of the upper, hugging enough. No adjustment needed over the distance today. I just laced up and good to go. No discomfort on the top of the foot from those cages, I suppose you could call them. I guess it must be 3D printed or something, these things. I don't know. I know on the Ultraboost 20 that I did experience a little bit of discomfort from the very edges of the cage here, but nothing like that today. In fact, the upper was almost absent really. I didn't really think about it at all. I think the Prime Knit Plus is flexing a little bit perhaps. It has got a little more accommodating. But I think pretty much any shoe would have suffered out there today with that intermittent rain. Just scattered puddles everywhere. It was one of those days. Perhaps not the best choice of upper for today's run, but if you don't try, then you never know. No issues with the heel whatsoever, very hugging, and adds to the lockdown from the laces. Even with some lower profile Nike socks today, I had no issues in rubbing from the tongue or the heel collar, just a nice comfortable fit. As you can see again, the upper has taken on quite a lot of the environment. Sometimes with the upper of a shoe on a long run it can start to feel a little constrictive, but I didn't feel that at all over the course of the run. I remember having some problems in the Hoka Oni Clifton 7 with that one. Just didn't work out on the long run too well for me. But this one just seems to fit. Quite similar perhaps to the first version of the Infinity run from Nike. Onto the midsole now. The boost in the midsole certainly did provide a very consistent underfoot feel on my run today. Some midsole foams are great for a few miles, but then they start to bottom out around about 10 and they just become, I guess, unpleasant almost to run in. They just start to feel like the cushion's kind of bottoming out, and no one really wants that inconsistency. You don't want to be thinking about that as the miles rack up. I always find with shoes it's around about 16 kilometers. When you get there, then you really find out what a shoe's made of. These boost pellets here have a slightly denser feeling. They might look similar to the stuff that you get in the Endorphin series from Saucony, but I'd suggest they're closer to the Power Run Plus stuff rather than the PB. One interesting fact I did find out this week about the Ultraboost 21 is that Adidas have deliberately made the boost here a little firmer. They also reckon that the boost material here will keep its characteristics, or at least retain its consistency, down to -20. Now they don't say whether that's Celsius or Fahrenheit, so I don't know. Just something to bear in mind though, if you are operating in those sort of temperatures. Certainly I can feel that the boost is a little firmer here than the stuff that's within the Ultraboost 20, and especially firmer than the V4 back in 2018. I really do feel that the midsole benefits from that LEP piece that's been inserted just underneath the midsole between that and the outsole. It helps to generate a real rolling feel as you toe off. The transition is very, very different in terms of the 21 and the 20. More evidence here today to suggest this one fits into that higher cushion long run category, and a shoe that barely changes its characteristics over some sustained miles. Outsole wise, it really does feel like there's more surface area in this version of the Ultraboost. That made for a really stable ride for me over the 13 miles today. It felt really assured actually. I didn't once, even in quite slippery conditions at times, feel that I was going to slide, that the grip was going to fail. Continental rubber did me proud. I do think the outsole as well feels a little bit more flexible in this version of the shoe. I think the stretch web and the targeted areas of rubber are much better and more flexible than the version 20 from last year. Traction in the rain on road and paths was really good. Pretty terrible on grass and mud, as you can imagine. It's not what this shoe's really made for. Though I had to take some evasive action onto the grass to make sure I kept some distance for some elderly people today. One minor issue and irritation really is that some small stones are getting caught in parts of the rubber outsole. You can hear them kind of grinding as you're putting your foot down. Really was quite irritating. Maybe I didn't hear it before because I was listening to music and stuff, but today, no music, just me and the outside world. A quick scuff of the outsole soon removed the stones, but if you get one lodged in there, then you're going to need to use your jeweler's screwdriver or toothpick or something, I don't know, whatever you've got handy. Maybe you could use a slightly larger stone that you find on the floor to take the smaller stones out. Anyway, I'll leave that one up to you guys. Just something to bear in mind, I suppose, if you're going to run in very gravelly areas frequently in the Ultraboost 21. Overall, a pretty reasonable performance on the long run from the Adidas Ultraboost 21 today. Hindered more by conditions really outside rather than the shoes. I think it pretty much performed as expected in the conditions today and produced some very consistent results without the razzmatazz. If you've been running in any of the Adidas Boost shoes, please do let me know in the comments. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts about the Solarboost 13. Might pick that one up. A slightly strange musical interlude today, but I think you'll like it. So recently I've really got into listening to Lonnie Donegan. Now if you've not heard of Lonnie Donegan before, he was very famous in the UK for the skiffle kind of style movement. Back in, I guess it was the 50s really. I started listening to him recently because I'd watched a video of him playing with Chaz and Dave. Now, Chaz and Dave, people often put them down as being this sort of joke act. They were far from that. They were very, very accomplished musicians, superb performers. Amongst the best, I think, that the UK's produced. On YouTube, I found a great couple of tracks from them playing with Lonnie Donegan. He's got this big 12-string acoustic guitar, and they're just absolutely phenomenal. It creates this almost Johnny Cash style train type vibe. Go and check out some stuff from Lonnie Donegan. My Old Man's a Dustman is one of my favourites. A dustman over here in the UK is like somebody who picks up the rubbish, you know, the trash, I guess, if you're in America. Wabash Cannonball is worth checking out too. That was all about a train. And Wreck of the Old 97 is about a train as well. You might have heard that one actually. There's a very famous version by Johnny Cash. I think the two most famous tracks that people know Lonnie Donegan for though are Rock Island Line and Cumberland Gap. Absolutely worth checking out. I think you'll enjoy it. Certainly if you want to listen to it on a long run perhaps, or maybe some tempo effort, it could provide that sort of pace that you need to keep chugging along. Thanks for sticking with me to the very end of the video guys, I very much appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when we launch those new videos. It really does help the channel out to grow as well if you give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you